Hey everybody, welcome to our Wednesday night watch party. Everything looks a little different today. Me and James are coming to you guys together. We're going to hear from Pastor Allen a little later on tonight as we are doing this kind of graduate episode. And we're talking to our graduating seniors, not only in high school, but also middle school, you fifth graders, if you're watching, college graduates. We wanted to talk to you guys specifically on our future and what that means because we've been missing out on so many things. Everybody's world is turned upside down. But we know you guys as graduates really had a lot of stuff to look forward to that you are now missing out on. And we wanted to bring you maybe a couple of words of inspiration, maybe a story or two about stuff in our lives that have helped us travel through the hard times. And a verse that keeps coming up to mind here in our church and in my mind a lot is in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope." And that's kept coming up to me specifically because even in these times of hard times and the things we are going through, He still has a plan for all of this. And we just wanted to say that it is okay to be upset. It is okay to be angry at what is going on right now, the things that we are missing out on. A lot of it due to none of our control. A lot of the things going on, we can't control any of that, but we can control how we go forward. And so we just want to say that it is okay to be upset, that it is okay to be mad at missing out on these things, but not to waste this time that we are in and not to waste our future. We're going to have a lot of opportunities in the future, and I think this time really helps us engage in those times. And when we get to those times, not wasting our time and not doing things that aren't going to lead to prosperous things. And so making sure that when we do get back out there, that we have experience that we cherish, experiences that we can remember forever instead of just wasting that time.
Yeah, I definitely had several things. Coming out of high school, even into college, I think this kind of applies no matter like what the age group is. Like one time, I was a football player, kicker, and so to go play to college football at different schools, you went and attended their camps, and you would compete at their camps. And there was a bigger D1 college that I'd been talking to for a little bit, and I had the choice to either go to this camp or I could go on this canoeing trip down to Mississippi with some of my best friends in high school. And I was so focused on football that I skipped that trip and ended up going to that camp. And long story short, that school did not scholarship me. I never ended up going there. It did not pay off at all. But I did not go to the Mississippi trip. And now looking back on that, hearing stories of my best friends talk about, like one of them, they were canoeing down the river and he had a paddle. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a javelin be thrown, but they were like splashing each other. And one of the guys was like, "Hey, back off." And they were like, "No, we're not going to." And so he chucked his paddle like a perfect spear and hit my buddy Carter in the mouth, and it gashed open his lip, like his teeth, and it knocked him out, like fell flat on his face in the water. They thought that they killed him, and all this stuff. They had to get stitches in his lip. They had to find like a hospital, some random place in Mississippi to stitch him up. And I missed that story because I was so focused on what I was doing in the moment. And it's so easy to do that with like, if it's a test coming up that you're like, man, I've spent 2 days studying for, and I still got, I got a 95, but what did I really miss in that time? I'm not saying don't study for tests. All of you who are out there thinking like, hey, James told me to go to college and don't study anything.
Don't have to study.
Yeah, and even for like people in work, man, like people can miss an entire life because they're working instead of spending time with family or with kids. And so like just a piece of advice, if you're going into the workforce, if you're graduating high school, going into college, if you're just still in high school or if you're out of high school, like it's so like clear. Like it's so like people say this all the time, take time to like sit down and like really enjoy life. But seldom do we ever do that. Like even right now, like during like quarantine, like I don't know if you guys are watching this right now or months after or years after, like it almost seems like people are still finding ways to be busy and not settle down and talk to people. Even though like we have the most free time, you can't go to restaurants, people are still finding a way to make life busy to where they might be missing some important parts of life. And so just the next 4 years or however many years or the rest of your life, really take time and consider, hey, who are these people around me and how can I really value the time with them? I mean, it's so much fun when you truly can just chill and hang out with people and like, hey, we're just going to do life together. And now we have Pastor Allen who's going to take it over for a few minutes and tell you guys also some advice. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and let's switch over to him.
Well, hello, graduates. I am so excited for this milestone that you have accomplished in your life. You guys are incredible. Congratulations. Woo! Did you know that 40 years ago, I walked across a stage and received my high school diploma, 1980, the class of 1980. And I remember what an incredible difference that day made in my life. Now, I can understand that whether you graduated from high school or college or whatever situation you've graduated from, this year's graduation was, of course, not what any of us wanted, right? But still, the fact is, you accomplished all the things you needed to accomplish to graduate this milestone in your life. So congratulations are definitely in order. Now, especially for those of you that are graduating from high school, you find yourself now sort of being set free. You've moved into adulthood in a new level, and with that comes lots of opportunities. I remember in those days, it seemed like my mind was flashing one direction to a different direction, and I had a heart for God, and yet I was thinking, I've got to go to college, I've got to make some money now, and I've got to get a degree that will help me make money. And so I went into pre-med. I'm a chemistry major because that was sort of how I thought at that particular time. And I hope you don't do what I did, but I spent 4 years in chemistry, and hey, I ended up being a preacher, right? So don't waste your parents' money if you decide to go to college. Try to get a better field than I did. But God used that. And even today, I still see how science has helped me in my faith. Here's what I want to ask you as you face a new future. What will you chase in this next year and years of your life? What are you going to chase after? You know, the world tells us that we need to chase after finances, or empowerment, or fame. So many things that the world tells us that we need to chase after, that we need to give our life toward. And yet when I study the Bible, I see something that God says completely different for us. I want to talk to you about that because here's what I've learned. Take it from an old guy. The world will always chase after you. You'll have so many opportunities and so many things that you could invest and give your life to. And it is a rat race that I promise you will never win if your goal is to fulfill what the world expects from you. But here's what I want to tell you. If you will decide not what chases after you, but what you are going to chase after, your life will have so much more significance and purpose. And when you get to my age, you'll look back and you'll see how God directed every step of the way. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I want you to think about this question. What will you chase? I want to give you 3 smart choices today. The first choice I would say for you to chase after is chase after the fulfillment of living a life all in for Jesus Christ. I'll tell you something, guys. This is really the game changer. If you can be all in for Jesus and you can chase after living for Jesus. Now, I think you can do that in no matter what career path you choose. But just remember, keep Jesus Christ the center and the focus of your life. It's, well, that sounds good, but practically, what does that look like? Here's what it looks like. A life that's all in for Jesus is a life that's full of love for others and ability that we have been given by God to serve other people. And if you love others and you serve others, then I want to tell you something. That is a life on purpose, on mission, where you just will find fulfillment in living your life in the purpose of Jesus Christ. So, number one, the smartest choice you can make is just chase after a life of following Jesus in all of its fullness. The second thing I would say is chase after healthy and meaningful relationships. You know, in order to have some joy and happiness in life, relationships are a huge part. You guys that have graduated from high school, and many of you that are even on the college track, you're trying to discern, who am I going to marry? Who am I going to spend the rest of my life with? And that is a huge step in pursuing an authentic, real, loving relationship. Pursue that. Chase after that person that God has for you, that mate that you'll be able to share joy and happiness and sorrow, and all these things that we need somebody to celebrate life with. You know, relationships are so critical to us. Friendships are huge in our life. I would encourage you to really select some great friends. And you've all had high school friends that you've been buddies with for a long time. Most of us will only have 3 or 4 friends from high school that will continue on in the years ahead. Those of you in college, all of a sudden you meet a whole different group of friends. And again, 2 or 3 of those college relationships we keep with us. But when you have those, those awesome friendships, man, they make life so much better. So chase after some awesome friends and chase after that relationship where you're joined together in a spousal relationship for your life here on earth. And then the third thing I would say that's so important is to chase after those things in your life that will produce the most kingdom results. Now, again, the world's going to give you so many opportunities to chase after. But if you determine what you're going to chase after rather than allowing the world to chase after you, then you're able to begin to prioritize those things in your life that will actually produce results. And when you're able to produce results for the kingdom of God, that's so much better. I would just challenge you, think about going on a mission trip, someplace to a third world country where you could actually see just how blessed you've been. Think about some injustice in your own community, whether it's homelessness or speaking English as a second language or something to that order, where you can go in and you can be a part of solving that problem, and you will be able to help others in their life fulfill significant things that without your help would have never happened. You know, when I think about these 3 things to chase after, I really believe that these 3 will help you find purpose and meaning and significance in your life. You know what is true, graduates? Sometimes I talk to a 50-year-old person and they've never answered these 3 questions. And they look back and they have so many regrets in their life. So for you, I want to tell you, all of Highlands is standing behind you. And we are cheering you on. And you know what we want to do as you begin to run your race in your life? We want to come alongside you. And we hope to be the church for you where you can be at home here and you can find a place where you belong and you can become a part, developing your spiritual gifts, and you can help us fulfill the Great Commission that God's called all of us to. I believe in you. I believe the best in you. And I think you're going to change our world. Hey, I want you to know I love you. I'm praying for you. And when you see me out somewhere, come up and give me a high five and tell me what you're dreaming about and what you're chasing. Hey, man, stay with the stuff. The best is yet to come.